and she wants nothing to do with the Justin Baldoni situation. Is she being used, or are people starting to jump into lifeboats?
Well, one of the things, basically Justin's lawsuit that he has filed, Justin and his production company, Wayfarer Studios.
Justin Baldoni's lawyer dropped that website that they had been promising, and according to him, all the receipts.
Gorgeous Blake Lively and Brandon Sklenar. He's gorgeous too. So we sat down with the pair earlier this week.
The legal battle between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds is heating up, and now a tense meeting in New York City has added even more drama to the mix. With lawsuits piling up, leaked text messages, and prominent Hollywood figures taking sides, it's clear that this case is spiraling into one of the biggest scandals in recent memory. Justin Baldoni, who has been fighting to clear his name, reportedly had a heated confrontation with Blake and Ryan as they attempted to navigate the latest twists in their ongoing legal feud. The stakes couldn't be higher, especially now that Baldoni's legal team is preparing to release bombshell evidence. To make matters worse, Taylor Swift has reportedly turned her back on Blake and Ryan, leaving them with even fewer allies as they try to defend themselves.
Blake Lively essentially threatened, you could say, Justin Baldoni, calling Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds her beautiful little dragon monsters that she sometimes has to use to get what she wants done. Well, I am pleased to report that we have got live footage of one of her dragons. Check this out.
One of the most significant developments in the case is Baldoni's legal team announcing that they will release text messages that could change everything. If these messages prove that Blake and Ryan engaged in misconduct, their defense will fall apart instantly. The fact that Baldoni's team is willing to make these texts public suggests that they believe the evidence is overwhelmingly in their favor. What exactly do these texts reveal, and how damaging will they be to Blake and Ryan?
Hey guys, good morning. Well, Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, tells me they're not done taking legal action following their lawsuit against the New York Times, adding that he plans to release even more text messages between the co-stars. Friedman insists the truth is in those documents and that Blake Lively is the one who used her power and influence to take control of the film. Lively's team, though, they're saying they're going to defend her accusation.
For years, Blake Lively and Taylor Swift were inseparable, with their friendship being one of Hollywood's most celebrated bonds. But now, sources claim that Taylor has completely distanced herself from Blake and Ryan, suggesting she no longer supports them in their legal battle. This is a massive blow for Blake, who has always been able to rely on Taylor's influence and public support. If even her closest friends are walking away, what does that say about the truth behind these allegations?
And she wants nothing to do with the Justin Baldoni situation. Is she being used, or are people starting to jump into lifeboats because Ryan and Blake's Titanic, the ship that not even God could sink, is sinking? It's going down because God is God, okay? Also, it's the anniversary of Jussie Smollett's hate crime, so it is indeed a dark day, the hate crime that he staged against himself 6 years ago. And so I decided to invite on the Nigerian brothers, the Unsundairo brothers, the people who helped him in the plot against himself. I asked them the burning questions that everyone wants to know, like, this is MAGA country. Who exactly came up with that line? You guys are going to crack up. These men are hilarious. So let's get started and welcome back to Candace. Justin Baldoni in his lawsuit stipulates that Taylor Swift peer pressured him, and she's not denying that in this article. She's not saying, I didn't speak to him, I said nothing, which I would be like, oh, you just used me as an intimidation tactic in your phone, I had nothing to do with it. She is saying that she then went and heaped praise on Blake Lively's version of the opening scene. That's what his lawsuit states. This is when they were talking about that rooftop scene, okay? So she inserted herself in that. So unless Blake gave her the nudge and said, can you go in there, in which case Taylor Swift is still responsible for having peer pressured him, then there's no deniability here. She can't say, I had nothing, I don't know how I got involved in this. You got involved in it because you peer pressured him to make a change that he didn't want to make to his movie.
Adding to their legal woes, Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios have officially sued Blake, Ryan, and their publicist. This means that the case isn't just about personal reputations anymore. It now involves serious business dealings and potential career-ending consequences. With major studios now involved, the financial stakes have skyrocketed. If Blake and Ryan lose this case, the damages could cost millions.
Well, one of the things, basically Justin's lawsuit that he has filed, Justin and his production company, Wayfarer Studios, have filed this lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and also Blake Lively's publicist, Leslie Sloan, for a whole slew of things. By the way, he wants no less than $400 million. Now, here's how Taylor Swift comes into it. He is not suing Taylor Swift, but I think he understood that mentioning Taylor would get it a lot more attention. So he talks about when they were making the film, before they had started filming, they were talking about the script. And there's a very key scene, if you've seen the movie, where the main characters meet, where Blake Lively and Justin's characters meet on the rooftop. He says that Blake decided to do a rewrite of the scene. And they were having a meeting to discuss that. Blake's version and Justin's version. Remember, he's the director. The agreement, Justin says in the lawsuit, the agreement was whichever one tested better, that's the one they would go with. He says his version actually tested significantly better than Blake's version, and yet they ended up going with Blake's version because Blake told Sony, if you don't use my version, I'm not going to promote the film. And so, according to Justin, Sony had to give in. And he's clearly not happy about this. He describes it as having to fire himself off the movie.
Another twist. A close friend of Taylor Swift has spoken out about the drama, revealing shocking new details about Blake's alleged actions behind the scenes. This insider's claim adds even more credibility to Baldoni's case, suggesting that Blake was far more involved in the scandal than she's letting on. If Taylor's inner circle is now speaking against her, then the public perception of Blake will only get worse.
Also, since my last video, Justin Baldoni's lawyer dropped that website that they had been promising, and according to him, all the receipts that Justin needs to win his case is on that website. And Blake Lively has a new lawsuit that's been filed against her. So if you are not all caught up, I have posted 3 other videos so far talking about Blake's initial complaint and then the lawsuit that she filed. We also talked about Justin Baldoni's lawsuit against the New York Times and his personal lawsuit against Blake. And we even talked about how Blake and her team are trying to put a gag order in place. And so if you have not seen those videos, I highly recommend that you go and watch those videos first, so you are all caught up before we get into what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to start off with Taylor Swift, y'all, because the drama is drama-ing. If you remember, Justin Baldoni alleges that there was this heated meeting.
Blake Lively has always been a powerhouse in Hollywood, known for her ability to navigate the industry with ease. But as this lawsuit continues, it's becoming clear that her influence is slipping away. With more Hollywood stars cutting ties and now even legal experts weighing in on her potential downfall, she's running out of options. Once seen as untouchable, Blake is now facing the very real possibility of losing everything she's built.
Taylor went to Blake's apartment that day. She only went because Taylor told her to and told her at what time to be there. She allegedly said that she had no idea anybody else was going to be there, and she had no idea about a meeting that was going on between them and Justin. The source also went on to say that Justin was just about to leave as Taylor walked in, and then she was introduced to Justin for one and only time she's ever met him. They say that they were told that Taylor only said to Justin how she was excited to see the movie because he was her best friend's boss, which I think is so very interesting, because if her best friend was going through all of this stuff, wouldn't she know about it? She also allegedly believes that Blake timed the meeting between them perfectly, almost like to show off she was best friends with Taylor, or like a show of power or
Blake
something.
Lively has had a history of rocky relationships in Hollywood, and now even Anna Kendrick has spoken out about her decision to block Blake on Instagram. Could this be another puzzle piece in understanding Blake's behind-the-scenes behavior? If so many people have distanced themselves from her, there must be more to this story.
See, this is an entire therapy session.
That's good. Get it out.
We can grab it. We've saged the room. We've emotionally saged.
Sorry.
We're gonna eat some chocolate croissants now.
Yeah, but what? So, I feel like your character is like the most confident woman in the world, and yours is like very insecure.
Yeah.
Are you guys? But you guys are like, both of you have this attitude about you that.
In real life, it's the other way around, and I constantly have to call Blake and be like, "It's okay. You're good at giving interviews. I promise you. People like you. They respect you.
A lot of talking
Gotta
off the
give her a
ledge.
pep talk. I'm like, we're amazing. We're powerful.
That's true.
I mean, I'm the reason she gets out of bed in the morning.
And Anna's just an egomaniac, as you can see. So,
Yeah.
so
I'm
I learned a lot from her.
Yeah.
But are you good at telling yourself these things? Because I think we are the only person who can tell ourselves.
I've sometimes judged her for being so confident, which I think is like not fair, right?
Yeah, you're such a bad daughter.
Terrible daughter. See, this is an entire therapy session.
That's
You've stepped
good.
into,
Get it
you don't
out.
realize.
So both of you are very active on social media, and there are a lot of people have opinions about you. How do you kind of just like, not let it affect you at all?
Everyone's
Or does it affect you?
opinion of me is just so positive. I do let it affect me. I do. Because everyone's like,
endorphin
you're
rush.
great. And I'm like, I know.
You're not great. Blocked.
Yeah.
Do you block people ever?
No, I've muted some people now that it's a function on Twitter and Instagram.
A new legal breakdown of the Baldoni versus Blake case has provided insight into just how messy this lawsuit is becoming. Legal experts believe this case could set a precedent for future Hollywood lawsuits, especially if Baldoni wins against such influential figures. The repercussions could be massive if Blake and Ryan are found guilty of wrongdoing.
Obviously, the dueling lawsuits, which have now been merged, right, of Blake Lively initially suing Justin Baldoni, and then Justin Baldoni countersuing Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, etc., over the film It Ends With Us. Now, this is one that I was debating whether or not I was going to get into this and cover this at all. However, I was recently convinced of it really by one clip. Really, there was one clip that stood out and convinced me. Before I get to that, though, real quick, Big Buddhist, thank you so much for the 5 Legal Mindset memberships. Appreciate that. Yes. So there was one particular person that convinced me to cover this, and this is amongst the coverage of, my coverage where I'm now covering Disney, Gina Carano. I'm covering Destiny, right? I'm covering Johnny Somali, massive case.
But I think that these are very intelligent people, and
Sure.
Maybe there was just they just wanted to take Baldoni out because he was they just didn't like him, and who knows exactly. But I do think that there was a bigger picture here, whether it was to destroy him so that Sony enacts a morality clause, or so that he's kind of forced to give the book the movie rights to the rest of the books to Ryan Reynolds. There was rumors that he had made an offer and that they said no, they didn't want to sell them. And so, one thing I thought.
Do you think Ryan wanted the spot? Do you think Ryan wanted his act? Ryan wanted to be the actor in the job?
No,
do you think that was it?
No, this is what I
Blake
think.
is still trying to push forward with her professional projects despite everything. Her upcoming film, It Ends With Us, is still in the works, but with all the negative press surrounding her, many wonder if the controversy will impact the movie's success. Will audiences still support her, or has this lawsuit damaged her career?
Gorgeous Blake Lively and Brandon Sklenar. He's gorgeous too. So we sat down with the pair earlier this week. Lively plays Lily. That's a woman who overcomes a traumatic childhood and follows her dreams to Boston. Sklenar plays Atlas. Don't you like that name? That's Lily's first love. In this clip, Lily and Atlas see each other for the first time since they were teenagers.
Lily Bloom.
Atlas, you look so well. I don't want to get you in trouble or anything.
Hey, well, how do I find you? If I wanted to find you.
I opened my flower shop, Lily Blooms.
Of course you did.
Yeah, over in Back Bay. So you can look me up sometime.
Amidst all the drama, rumors have circulated that Ryan Reynolds had a heated confrontation with Baldoni. However, sources close to Ryan are now denying that this ever happened. But if Ryan is trying so hard to deny involvement, does that mean these rumors have some truth? Could it be that Ryan's role in this entire ordeal is bigger than we initially thought?
So let's talk a little bit about a story that we broke late yesterday about Ryan Reynolds' role in all of this. Because remember, in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, he says he has never been screamed at or berated the way Ryan Reynolds did when they had that face down.
All the involved parties during filming of the movie came to have this basically a come to Jesus meeting about all the allegations, what Blake was saying about Justin, and they were just going to have it all out. And in his lawsuit, Justin says that, that Ryan Reynolds, who, by the way, was not involved in the movie, but, from what we're told from a source very close to what was going on that day, Ryan was there to defend to help Blake, to defend his wife.
The meeting was at their penthouse in New York City.
Right. And as Justin describes it, that Ryan just went off on him.
Honestly, this whole situation is just absolutely out of control. The whole lawsuit, it's one person saying one thing and then the other says the complete opposite. I don't know, I can't keep my head on straight with this whole situation, but it's just a total mess.
There's truth on both sides, and there are lies on both sides. And that could be the way this thing plays out.
The problem is, do you really see any of these lawsuits ending up in court?
No, absolutely
Which
not.
means that the public is never really going to have that satisfaction of a jury or a judge saying, this is it.
That's true, but the curtain's never been opened this wide before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting.